Now, a lot of e-bikes either feel too basic once you actually ride them, or they jump straight into premium prices that are hard to justify for the average consumer. To be fair, this one caught my attention because it sits somewhere in the middle. It's UK road legal, step-through, commuter-friendly, and comes with some genuinely useful parts. A torque sensor, Shimano hydraulic brakes, 10-speed gearing, a Samsung battery, and a lot more, all for a relatively reasonable price. This is the Cyrusher Asuka trekking e-bike. I've been using it for a few weeks now to see whether it's actually a strong value commuter bike or whether the spec sheet looks better than the real world ride. At around a £899 sale price, this bike is clearly trying to sit in the sweet spot. Practical enough for daily riding, comfortable enough for longer trips, but still much cheaper than a big name trekking e-bike. But I guess the burning question is it still worth the asking price? Well, let's first start by unboxing it. Now, like with most e-bikes, the Asuka doesn't arrive fully ready to ride. It comes mostly assembled, but you've still got the usual bits to sort: handlebars, pedals, front wheel, and checking the brakes. Just making sure everything is tightened properly and giving it a proper once-over before you actually ride it. Now, I won't really go too much into assembly, as they do actually have a dedicated video of their own showing a step-by-step process. But honestly, it is really only a matter of attaching everything, and in terms of setup out of the box, I don't think many people will struggle. First impressions though, it looks a lot more grown up than some of Cyrusher's more aggressive fat tyre bikes. The brand are probably better known for bigger, chunkier e-bikes, but the Asuka is a very different thing. This is more of a commuter, trekking, city and low touring bike. It's got 700C wheels, smoother 45C tyres, a step-through aluminium frame, mudguards, a rack, lights, and a much more everyday shape. One thing to mention straight away is sizing though. Even though it is a step-through frame, the brand lists the rider height from around 5.7 to about 6.6 feet. So if you're much shorter than that, don't assume the low frame automatically means it'll fit perfectly. I definitely check measurements before ordering. Build-wise, it feels pretty darn solid. It's not a featherweight bike by any means. With the battery fitted, you're looking around the 25kg mark, so if you need to carry it upstairs every day, that is going to get old quickly. But for a fully equipped e-bike with rack, mudguard, suspension fork, hydraulic brakes, and of course that 504-watt battery, that kind of weight is not really unusual. And for lifting it in and out of a car, taking it upstairs occasionally, and storing it as a whole, it's not really an issue. Now, the battery is removable and lockable, which is always handy. If you store the bike somewhere cold or you want to charge indoors, you can actually take the battery out rather than moving the whole bike near a socket. As mentioned, the battery is a 36V 14Ah Samsung unit, which works out at around 504 watts. Now, the brand claims up to 75 miles or around 120 kilometers. But as always with e-bike range claims, you need to take that as best case scenario. That sort of figure will be under low assist, probably a lighter ride, decent weather conditions, flatter roads, good tyre pressure, and not riding anywhere in the highest assist modes. In real world use, I'd be more realistic. For mixed riding, hills, stop-start commuting, and using higher assist levels, in my experience, I got something more like 35 to 60 miles depending on those said conditions. And honestly, that's still pretty good. For most commuters, that is plenty. You're not going to be charging it every single ride unless you're doing some serious distance. And on the topic of charging, it takes around 5 to 6 hours, so it's basically an overnight or everyday charge. Not super fast, but normal for this type of battery. Now, the main controls is fairly straightforward, not conventional though, as it's not actually on the handlebars. They've actually placed it on the body itself, and although it's tiny, it does give you all the essential information. You've got things like the battery level, mileage, and your overall assist level. It is only a one-button operation and does require holding and pressing numerous times for different functions, but I kinda like the simplicity of that. I do think sometimes they overcomplicate the screens on these e-bikes, and on a bike like this, I think it's all you need. There is 5 pedal assist levels, and you just simply press the button to move through them. Now, one of the most important things here is that this setup is a UK and EU style road legal e-bike. You've got a 250 watt Bafang rear hub motor, assistance up to 15.5 miles per hour, and no throttle setup. That just keeps it in the normal EAPC category, so it can be used like a regular bicycle in the UK as long as it meets those usual rules. And honestly, I think that's important. A lot of e-bikes look tempting because they advertise huge motors and huge speeds, but then you are suddenly in a grey area or completely outside road legal use. Thankfully, this is a much more sensible option. It is not trying to be a moped, it is trying to be a proper assisted bicycle. The motor is rated at 50 Nm, and for this type of bike, that's enough for everyday use. It helps you get away from junctions, keeps you moving on longer rides, and takes the sting out of hills. But to be fair, it's not going to feel like a premium mid-drive motor on steep climbs. That's one of the key things to understand here. The torque sensor is probably one of the most important features on this bike. A lot of cheaper e-bikes use cadence sensors. Those basically detect that the pedals are turning, then the motor kicks in. They can work fine, but they can also feel a bit on-off. With the Asuka, the torque sensor responds to how hard you're pedaling. That makes the assistance feel much more natural. When you pedal gently, it gives you gentle support. But when you push harder, it gives you much more help. It feels more like a strong tailwind than a motor suddenly taking over. For me, this is one of the features that makes the Asuka feel much better than a lot of entry-level e-bikes. It's not just about having a motor, it's about how the motor delivers power. And on this bike, the assistance comes in smoothly enough that you quickly stop thinking about it. The bike uses a Shimano 10-speed drivetrain, which is nice to see at this price. A lot of budget e-bikes come with a fairly basic 7-speed setup. And while those can be fine, the extra range here is very useful. You've got more than enough gears to ride comfortably without assistance. And to be honest, that's another important point. Once you go beyond the assisted limit, you're pedaling the bike yourself. Because this has a more efficient trekking setup rather than big fat tyres, it doesn't feel as sluggish as some heavier e-bikes once you pass the motor limit. The brakes are Shimano MT200 hydraulic discs with 160mm rotors. And to be honest, I'm glad they've gone hydraulic here. On a 25kg e-bike, especially one that might be used for commuting with luggage, decent brakes matter. And to be fair, the braking actually feels controlled and reassuring. You don't need to squeeze the lever mad to slow down, and it gives the bike a more confidence-inspiring feel. Handling wise, it feels stable rather than sporty. The 700C wheels roll nicely, the 45C tyres give a bit more comfort and grip, and the front suspension fork helps take the edge off rougher roads. But keep in mind, this is not a mountain bike by any means. The tyres are more city and trekking focus. It'll handle light gravel, park paths and broken tarmac, but I wouldn't be taking it into proper mud, aggressive trails or anything technical. It's a practical road and path bike, not really an off-road option. I will say when riding, the assistance is best used as supportive rather than expecting the bike to do everything. On assist level 1 or 2, it feels more efficient and natural. On higher levels, it gives you more help, but obviously battery drain increases. For me, the sweet spot is using lower assistance on flat and saving the higher levels for hills, headwinds, or when you just can't be bothered. That's where e-bikes like this make the most sense. They don't remove the ride, they remove the bits that make you avoid riding in the first place. It will just make everything so much easier, but you still need to put some effort in. Now, all in all, I think the Cyrusher Asuka is a surprisingly well-equipped trekking e-bike for the actual money. It's not perfect, and it's not trying to be a premium Bosch-powered touring bike, but for the current sale price, the spec is genuinely strong. You're getting a road legal 250 watt Bafang motor, a torque sensor, a Samsung 504 watt battery, Shimano hydraulic brakes, a 10-speed drivetrain, front suspension, mudguards, light kickstand and a rear rack. That's a lot of practical kit for a sub £1,000 e-bike. Where it shines is commuting, road riding, errands, relaxed leisure rides and light touring. It feels comfortable, stable and easy to ride. The torque sensor makes the assistance feel natural and the whole bike feels so much more sensible than some of the overpowered e-bikes you see nowadays. But obviously, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. If you need something lightweight, this probably isn't for you. If you have serious hills every day, a mid-drive bike will probably be better. And if you're under the recommended height range, I'd probably check that before ordering. But overall, if you want a practical, comfortable UK road legal trekking e-bike with a strong spec sheet, the Asuka makes a lot of sense.